Hi everyone, my name is William Mills. I'm 42 from Mallow, County Cork. It's a privilege to be here today, be able to tell my story. I underwent a combined kidney and pancreas transplant last year in St Vincent's Hospital. I was diagnosed with diabetes in 1996 when I was 15. I was injecting myself 4 to 5 times a day with insulin for about 18 years until I ended up going on an insulin pump. Diabetes really forced me to grow up very quickly. I became very independent, very determined. I'm a positive person, and it made me realise I had to take care of myself, which was very hard living with diabetes, as people hopefully will be able to tell you that. With school, I missed a lot when I was in my teens because before I was diagnosed, I was very, very sick. With diabetes, it kind of affects you in many ways, your moods, tired, lots of complications with it. So I had missed a lot of school. And then for about 2 years after being diagnosed with diabetes, it did affect me as well. So in my final year of leaving cert, I dropped out. Just knew it wasn't for me. So while I was 16 up to about 18, I was working part-time. When I dropped out of school, I started working full-time. I started working full-time, and for the next 20 years I had been working full-time in management roles. Luckily, I was lucky enough to get a mortgage for my own house at the age of 20. So which I'm still paying for, and the interest rates have gone up 6 times in the past couple of months. Thanks very much. In 2013, I changed from insulin going onto an insulin pump, and I found that to be life-changing, to be honest. Still was very difficult, but it had better control of managing my blood sugars and stuff like that, and it acted as an artificial pancreas, which I would highly recommend anyone that would be a diabetic to go on it. You just literally have a cannula in your stomach, it pumps in the insulin to you. For teenagers that would be thinking about it, do think about it, because it definitely kept me alive anyway. With this then, in 2017, I went on to a newer insulin pump, which had a sensor with it, which actually gave me constant blood sugar monitoring, and it gave me more confidence in myself, and it actually mentally made me feel better that I could actually just look at the pump and I could see what my blood sugars were. So you weren't thinking like, oh, will I check what my bloods are, because if they were high I wouldn't want to know, because then you'd have to try and correct them and all that kind of stuff. So again, it's all messing with the head. So that's kind of leading me up to about 2018. Then in 2018 I got a bone infection in my foot, osteomyelitis, and with that then I was in hospital for about, I think it was about 8-9 weeks, and I was on constant IV antibiotics, so that caused damage to my kidneys. The way that kind of worked was that it was either lose my foot or take a risk of damaging my kidneys, so obviously the leg's still there. So and luckily I have a new kidney. As I said, since then up to then I was running DVD stores, game stores, all that kind of stuff. I opened up my own store in 2010, a DVD game store. So I kept that going until about 2014. The internet kind of killed off that business, as we can see by Extravision in a year later. Luckily I got out of it without having any debts or anything like that, so that was a good advantage. So again, after the whole foot incident, I was transferred to Liam Plant in CUH, since my kidney function was down to 45%. So he was managing my kidney function, seeing how things were going with things like that. With my diabetes, I was with Owen O'Sullivan in the Bonds in Cork, and he was absolutely outstanding. The man couldn't help me enough. His 2 diabetic nurses that I dealt with were Saoirse and Vera, Again, they were there anytime I needed them. They really saved my lives as well with keeping the diabetes under control. So leading me up to, say, we go with, when the kidneys started failing and stuff like that, it mainly kind of happened when the, say, after the foot incident, my kidney function started going from 45%, dropping down bit by bit. So when we had the pandemic, it was recommended for me to pull out of work for a little bit. With the unknown, none of us knew how long it was going to last. With me, it lasted over two years of being off work, because during the time of the start of the pandemic, for the few, I work for Super Value, so I would be dealing with a lot of customers. I pulled out of all management roles and stuff like that when my kidney started failing and when I had the foot incident. So I literally was a till worker, which I enjoy very much because I like dealing with the public. So it took a lot of pressure off me. So when I pulled out, say, it was Patrick's Day, 2020 was my last day working at the time, due to the COVID. Where am I going? Yeah, so the way it kind of worked was, during that time my kidney started failing a bit more again, and then Liam Plant in COH kept an eye on my kidneys, watching them the way things were going, and he was telling me, look, in time we're going to start, you know, the way they kind of look at things is catch it before it gets too late. So the way they were working was, he would constantly keep an eye on my bloods and my kidney functions and see the way things were going. So again, by September that year, this had dropped down to about 25%. So he said, look, it's about time that we started getting you on the transplant list. So we're going to do all the lead-up tests and things like that. So that kind of went on for about a year. I got all the things like angiograms, all the work that had to be done. I got in touch with the with Beaumont, and I was in touch with Vincent and stuff like that, and they were very helpful to me, giving me information and things like that, letting me know kind of all the bits that went with it. So getting me up to, say, my transplant time. I had my transplant last year. I had a kidney and a pancreas transplant. I was luckily only on the transplant list a short time when I got the call. My transplant coordinator, who's here today, Caroline, was absolutely outstanding to me, and her colleague Susie. It was a normal day. I was out doing my bits of shopping over at Super Value, filling up the presses, healthy food. And she rang me and she just said my name, and I was like thinking it was a normal checkup call, and it was, yeah, hi, how's it going? And she goes, we need you in Dublin. And the words I kind of said weren't very appropriate now to say here. But literally, I just grabbed my suitcase, hopped on the train from Mallow and got to Dublin for 9:30. I rang my sister. I asked her, would you drop me to the train station? She just thought I was going away. So she grabbed her handbag with nothing but her handbag, I think, and she came in the train with me and stayed with me for the night. Rona, she was a great help for me. She had offered to be a donor for me if she could as well. She wanted to do all the tests and everything, and she wouldn't take no for an answer. That wasn't the route I really wanted to go with, because even though that they said, look, don't refuse anything, I wouldn't have in the end if it came to that. But I'll never forget her being so generous to do that for me. So anyway, that night I got to the hospital, sitting on the hospital bed. I didn't think it was going to happen that night, because the way I was looking at things was, look, this is a test run now, this is good, at least I'm going to know what way things are going to work, because I wasn't expecting everything to happen so fast. So I was sitting on the bed, nothing attached to me or nothing, just sitting there, and then about 3 o'clock in the morning, a doctor, I think, came into me, or Caroline could have came into me, I can't actually remember now, and just said that, yeah, you're going down at 7 o'clock. So the organs that were there were viable, so that was fantastic. I was still didn't really know what was going on. I walked down to theatre, my sister walked down with me as well. She was crying. I was like, calm down, like, take it easy, you're fine. You know, she could have done with a wheelchair, to be honest. But look, we leave it there. I know it's weird, but I like anesthetics. After being through enough of them that it's the whole falling asleep, it's so peaceful. So I wasn't nervous about it. I'm more nervous now standing here than taking the anesthetic, you know. So, but look, that's the way it kind of went. The operation, I think, lasted about 12 hours. Came out of the operation. I was walking the next day. Pancreas kicked in straight away. Not a problem. Kidney was working as well. Unfortunately, like, I had a little complication with the kidney having a bleed about 4 days later, so I had to go back into surgery again. Again, it was something I was aware of. My transplant team had told me, you know, all the different complications you could come across and things like that, which was fine. I understood it all, so it was a good risk that was going to be taken. So for about a couple of months after, I did have other complications of getting internal infections and things like that, and I had to get my kidney rewired in a couple of months later again. But again, now everything's perfect. Everything's working fine. I haven't had insulin since the day of my transplant, which is life-changing as is, which is amazing. The only other things I want to thank, if you don't mind, I'd like to thank a couple of people who actually were amazing to me. I kind of forgot about my sheets, so sorry, Gwen, who helped me write it down. But so the people first of all, I really would like to thank the family of the gentleman that I'm after getting my organs from. I do think about him every day. It means a lot to me. Changed my life. Along with that, Dr. Owen O'Sullivan in the Bonds in Cork, he was amazing to me. He gave me a reality check many times with my diabetes, which I definitely needed a kick, because I always kind of blocked things out and kind of was like, look, if you don't know what's going on, nothing will happen to you, things like that. And I think a lot of teenagers need to have reality checks that way. I would like to thank, as I said, Vera and Saoirse in the Bonds in Cork. They were absolutely amazing to me, helped me out so many different ways as well. I would like to thank the people in Beaumont Hospital, who mainly I kind of only had dealings with when I got my kidney rewired during the summer, and that surgeon was Gordon Smith. Again, he was very helpful any way that I needed or any questions, he answered them all for me. Prof. Liam Planton in the Bonds, or in CUH in Cork, and the main nurse I used to deal with would have been Phil O'Driscoll, who absolutely was amazing in giving me any bit of information I needed, and she was also there, and as well with any of her team that was up there, or their team. Especially St. Vincent's Hospital, I really can't thank them enough. Caroline, who was here, as I said, was absolutely amazing to me. She really helped me out so much, and Susie, her colleague at the time. Tom Gallagher, again, my surgeon for my pancreas, explained everything so well to me that it was fine, you know. I felt at ease of whatever was going to happen was going to happen. Any complications, I was ready for them. My family and my sister, Rona, who helped me out so much as well. Where am I going? I think they're all the main people I would really... Oh, also, I have to say my place of work. I work for Daniel's, Super Value and Mallow. From the minute I had to take time off work, they were just so good to me. My job was there for me when I was coming back. There was no if I was coming back, it was when I was coming back. My job was secure, so that actually took a lot of pressure off me worrying about my mortgage and stuff like that. And for the lead up to my transplant and everything, I went back working there last November, back to friends and colleagues, and it was like I was never gone, which I totally enjoy. So I look forward to, I won't say I look forward to going back to work over the next few days again, but I actually do look forward to going back to work. And last, anyway, all I want to say is definitely again to the family that have donated the kidney and the pancreas to me. I'll never be able to repay them, but I hope in time I'm going to be able to write a letter to that family anonymously, and it's going to be passed on to them, and I just hope that they understand how it has affected my life, giving me a normal life. Before I used to see a future. Now I do see a future for myself. And thanks again for inviting me here today. It is an honour to be here, to leave you here my bit of a story. And hopefully other people that will be going through the kidney and pancreas waiting for the transplant will maybe get some hope out of my story that a small little ginger fella like me can survive. Look, that's all I have to say. And anyone that doesn't have a donor card, really consider having one. It is life changing for some family.